You know what's gonna happen. Okay, I want to point out at the start of your the game, I know this isn't new, but your opponent just chrono boosted a Nexus while he was failing at typing an emote. His first action was chrono boost his Nexus without building a probe. His second action was fail at typing an emote GLHF in the chat. On the other hand, you have yet to build an SCV, so, I mean, we're kind of in the same boat here. Okay, alright. Here's the first thing we do in StarCraft. You build an SCV. Okay, step one, follow along. Build an SCV. A space construction vehicle. If you don't build them, you will not have more SCVs with which you can pull to all in. No, you do not go depot first. You don't have your workers go on strike, either. This is not the time for workers' rights. Or mineral rights. Okay. No, your workers. No, you don't just... Okay, you don't respond to your opponent saying GLHF after your workers have unionized. You don't do that. You at least prioritize your macro over your manner. You actively saw your workers were not working, and then decided now's the time to respond to the honorable gentleman from Silver League. No, you keep I'm on your camera. Do you not see? They're not doing anything. They're not working. Put them back to work. Break the strike. You are selecting the command center and then the SCVs, and you're like, everything's okay here. Don't worry about it. This is exactly what I was planning on. This makes my build come together a lot better. You keep selecting all these different things. You're at 184 APM and literally 0 actions. I don't know. Like, what? I don't... And we're still not building. No, why? Okay, here's the problem. I know what you're doing. You've selected all your SCVs on your control group on 1, and you know what the hotkey is to build the SCV out of the command center? It's S. You know what S does for units? It's the stop command. So when you select all your SCVs in a control group for some ridiculous reason, we're 30 seconds in, by the way, and you press S, this happens. Alright. So, I now condemn you. You are no longer allowed to have more than 20 APM for the first 3 minutes of the game. The next 5 games you play, if you go into the replay, and you have more than 20 actions per minute for the first 3 minutes, you're doing it wrong. It's gonna happen again, isn't it? Alright. There we go. Okay. So, we're gonna we want to build our first SCV at the 1 second mark, not the 35 second mark. Okay. Don't do it. You're gonna... Alright. Don't worry, your opponent has 20 APM. He knows what's up. I bet his build's on point. Much closer. Much closer. All right. All right. So now that we've got this going, it looks something like a normal build, just about 30-something seconds late. Oh no, have you done it again? No. Okay, don't hotkey all your SCVs. Just don't do it. You don't need a second depot at this timing. Of course, there are some build order guides out there you can use. And yes, I may have put out only a Terran mech build order or whatever. You could just use the old Terran build order guide. It doesn't matter for you, okay? Use the one from, like, August or whatever. Use that one. Because with that, I mean, I'm gonna give it a little longer. Okay, 2 out of 3 is 67%, as many SCVs as you would like in gas. No, don't rally your SCV into the gas like that's some sort of timing. That's not a good idea. Just mine from the gas. Nope, keep building SCVs. Alright. What are we doing? What are we doing? I don't know. I'm on your camp. Where'd you go? Did you alt tab out? Did you take a call? Okay.
Command center upgrade.
Alright, so the command center. You got orbital barracks orbital. Alright, we got that much. Gonna drop a mule. There we go. There's really no point in having 200 gas unless you're gonna use it. Your first 100 gas, as any race really, should be used immediately on something. Unless you're specific, like there's nothing to save up for. You're not gonna be like, now's the time for my triple factory delayed proxy. No. Alright. Also, no scouting, or even a pretend to scout, but like, I would recommend just walling off as well, in general. It'll save you against most things in most matchups. Well, a lot of the things that you'll probably just outright die to, especially if your SCVs unionize. I appreciate the attempt to expand here, but you in what army is my question.
Add-on complete. Additional supply depots required. Additional.
All right. If a factory finishes, I think you can splurge on a starport as well. But, of course, with that, watch the... Specifically, I will give you the specific link to the build order thing. Which one is it? Here's the specific link. Here you go. I have a timestamp on it for some reason. Let me fix that. Very specifical. And with that, welcome back to Bronze League Heroes with Virus, the People's Terran, refusing to allow his SCVs to work too hard in the face of adversity and possibly higher profits. And this is Siwa, our Protoss player, rocking out at almost an action every 2 seconds. And good pylon coverage all throughout part of his main. A second forge build as well. Warp gates coming in. The double gas at the net. The worker count in favor of our Terran, who does know how to make SCVs once they get going. And siege his tanks. Gotta appreciate a man who respects a lost cause. The Zealots get blasted by 2 siege tanks. They see the Marines, so they go back, join up with their stalker brethren, and go in for another assault. It looks like it's just not quite gonna be enough. And Virus, despite anything early on, is now up by double the supply. As I assume we're not going to have any more attacks for, like... And a planetary fortress at the natural is only customary. Plenty of SCVs in production. As on the other side, the Void Ray Colossus Zealot composition is brought together. The classic third base expansion from... I just realized he's from the Peepees clan. Just another note, as one carrier being obliterated by the Banshees. Well, not one carrier, but one producing carrier. The Banshees will be taken out, and this will spur the attack from the Peepees clan. This is SC Wah. Will there be enough? The Marines locked in with the tanks, for better or for worse. The Protoss army will trickle across. The Colossi, I'm not sure where they were going, but they'll join the fight for a grand total of 4 to 5 seconds. Here come the Marines, getting sliced and diced. They don't have stim, they don't have combat shields, but inexplicably, they have 1-1 upgrades. A Viking is taken out. The carrier being chased down, recalled! The Marines, leave it be! They say, go tell your friends what happened here. The Terran never forget. And go back home. Now the counterattack comes across. A mothership is on the way. If that completes, that could create complications. There is no detection right now for these Banshees, but the Banshees, instead of killing all the units that could shoot back, will focus on the pylons, which will allow the Banshees to die to the Stalkers. Very, very conscientious of him. The tanks will siege up. The Marines will back off as the one carrier and one Colossus stand. Targeting down the carrier will fall. But 4 Stalkers will force the Terran army into retreat. A dozen tanks will siege. And there go the Stalkers. But the mothership is seconds away from completion. The mothership might just be enough. It might just be enough here. If the Nexus dies, the tanks look at it. The mothership is seconds away. All it needs to do, he sieges up the tanks. The mothership is on the field. But here comes the Thor. Are there enough Marines? Okay, never mind. The mothership will just die. As Virus is working up the ramp, the Marines getting sliced and lasered down. Two carriers, though. Ever the enemy of the Terran. 2 whole carriers stand against the Thors. He could just kill all the interceptors. We're not sure what he's waiting for. Goes into high impact mode to minimize his damage to the interceptors. The tanks will siege. And more Vikings come into the fray. The Void Rays try to hold on. A single Thor stands. A single Colossus blown away. The tanks continue their inevitable charge. But the Void Rays are able to fight back, and Virus will be driven back with only 7,115 minerals, 2,645 gas. How will he ever be able to rebuild an army the likes of which we have seen in the past? Five Vikings are queued up on the Tech Lab starports. That one tank will draw the carriers back home. Alright, okay, we're gonna go back. Let me tell you a story. I've told this story before, but I think it's time for it again. When I was but a young nerdlet, I played a game called Empire Earth. And a real-time strategy game on dial-up when I was like 9 or so. And there's a mode in Empire Earth. Now, I played it for a while. I was about 9 or 10. And it was rated T for teen, so that's pretty serious, right? So there was a mode after I played like the PvE and stuff and finally played some games on the internet. There's this mode called Deathmatch. And in Deathmatch, you started with 25,000 of all the resources. Doesn't matter what the resources were. And it was after months of playing the game and months of playing my own way that I finally realized upon seeing other players play that you could build more than one of each production facility. So in order to spend your 25,000 gold and your 25,000 uranium or whatever the fuck it was, you didn't just have one barracks, you could have 20. Virus, learn from 9-year-old me. Take a lesson from this. But thank you for the game. Alright, the counterattack comes across, but the anti-air is limited. One Void Ray against a handful of Marines. Will the Marines hold their ground? The Void Ray into the orange, into the red, and better red than dead. Wait, better dead than red. Okay, anyway, the other way around. Doesn't matter. The carriers are on the way. There's still the base in the bottom left. Virus. Will the carriers be repelled? There's only a handful of Vikings. He charges up the Void Ray, which means it won't actually be able to hit anything. Because of the prismatic alignment. Wait, I take it back. The Vikings are microwing back at us. A hailstorm of interceptors. If they just targeted... He's desperately trying to make Vikings 2 at a time, but 2 by 2 they fall. The carrier has lost its shields. The Void Rays are down. This is Siwa. All there needs to be are a couple more shots. He's killing the interceptors. There are no turrets. Even turrets could win at this point. But the Vikings are targeted down. Another one goes down. The continued tug of war continues working through the SCV, some of on the planetary. The tank siege is up for inexplicable reasons. More Vikings being produced, 5 at a time. Unfortunately, they're being rallied out into the fire and the flames. The Viking blown out of the sky. Oh, but the Vikings are targeting down a carrier, doing a lot of damage. It's down past the shields, onto the hull damage. It's taken critical. 1/2 of the carriers are taken out of the game. Will the Viking count be enough here? The shields are down. The carrier has 30 kills. It's an executor. But is it enough? He'll be able to fight this one Viking. He doesn't have Graviton Catapult, so the interceptors have to be launched individually. As eventually they will all... But that's 3 Vikings. This Viking wing, the carrier in the orange. Into the red. One more volley. And the carrier is blown out of the sky. And Virus will hold. Alright. What will this is SCW be able to do? He's building more carriers. There is a mothership. The counterattack. The Vikings will target it down. He doesn't have vision. But can he target the carriers in time? The carriers are not being targeted. There is a Void Ray. The mothership bought the time. The Thor's trying to come up the ramp, but it's too clunky. Another Viking. And this is SCW will hold again. Virus back down to only 5,230 minerals, 700 gas, 57 workers, a gold base, a grand total, and a disappointing total of 2 missile turrets. Amazing gaming. But will Virus have what it takes to come across with a victory? Oh, a recall! But he finds the army. The Vikings will micro back. He has enough of them. But, okay, targeting down the carriers. One carrier falls. He just needs to target the others. But those are prismatically aligned Void Rays. The Thors are killing all the interceptors. They're firing blanks. Another Void Ray goes down. The supplies start to even up. But there's nothing left. There are no interceptors. A single lone one in the sky. The carrier will fall. The recall was good. Another carrier comes out for the save. But Thors are here. Another Thor falls. But the interceptors are being shot out of the sky. Eventually, it seems like Virus, through sheer momentum, will be able to attain victory. Another carrier targeted down. Remember, this all started with the SCV strike. The 2 carrier counter. And now, finally, victory.
Yes, yes, yes. Just as I deserve.